Where's the etymology of jizz?
The origin?
Yes.
What is the origin of jizz?
These nuts.
Let's just start there.
So jizz came about in the mid-19th century as jism.
Jism.
Which is
Shirley Jism.
Which means energy or strength. It's of unknown origin.
Oh. So that's when people, when men used to think that when you came, you lost all your energy
strength,
and your testosterone.
Mm.
As a man, I must keep my jizz.
My jizz.
My jism.
The rism. The jism.
The old dirty gism. Okay. With this episode in particular,
why are we even here, man?
Well, it's not like we're gonna get a copyright strike
for jizz.
For jizz, yeah. So it's whatever. If they demonetize this episode and this episode alone.
I think technically Disney owns jizz though, so.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you think they really do?
I mean,
jizz in the way that he was using it.
Yes.
They have to, right?
I would think so.
You couldn't call something jizz music,
yeah.
Without having Disney would have to be like, hey, that's our jizz.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Guess we'll roll the dice.
Yeah, we're just rolling the dice here, ladies and gentlemen.
Time to play the game.
Okay, so listen, we're not gonna. You all know what happened, right? If you live in this country, and we're not gonna. We don't need to go through. We don't need to state the obvious. It is what it is. It's life, and we're just gonna have to deal with that, and everyone's gonna have to do what they need to do to feel however they feel about it. Whether it's you feel good about the direction of things, or maybe you don't feel so good about the direction of things, and you're just gonna have to fight this fight the way that you fight this fight, okay? And the way that we fight this fight here at the One Beer In podcast is we drink beer and we try to have ourselves
a beautiful evening.
A beautiful evening. So,
cheers to that.
Cheers. What's up, brewskis?
Hey.
My name's Marco Dupa. That's Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, buddy.
Tonight's brew is from Founders. It's their Dirty Bastard. It's a Scotch-Style ale.
Yeah.
And Obi's going to have a little bit more about that after the break. What's on tap for tonight?
I heard you got Call of Duty.
I did. Well, listen. The work that you put in, as well as a couple of other people, convinced me. And so I finally decided, after, avoiding a couple of Call of Duty games, that's really fighting its way.
I feel a pillar of fire down my esophagus.
Working its way down, buddy.
Yeah.
I did. I picked it up. So I'll give my thoughts on Blop 6.
Okay. What else do we have?
After that, let's just kind of shoot the shit.
Okay.
Let's just kind of see where life takes us. I'm
so warm inside right now.
That's right, buddy. That's right.
It's the first time I felt something in 24 hours.
And with that being said, this is episode 441 of the One Beer In podcast.
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m. takes me to a place where
This is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew and we see where that one brew takes us. My name is Marco. That's Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get ripping and rolling. This is we're gonna have a good time, guys. Okay? Here's the thing. Come to us. You want a safe haven. You want to be coddled like a little baby.
Yeah.
You want to be held. You want the same warmth that we have going on right now.
Uh-huh.
Then listen to the One Beer In podcast, okay? Let's cheers it up.
Oh. Why did the tip stick?
I don't like that. All right, you got any more information about what we're drinking tonight?
There is thankfully a cold read. So this is the Founder's Dirty Bastard Scotch-Style Ale with rich caramel notes and malty sweetness, where the classics never go out of style and new legends arise. This is from their Venture series. It comes at an 8.5% ABV and 50 IBUs, and a cold read goes as follows. The beer that put us on the map. Dark ruby in color, Dirty Bastard is complex in finish with rich notes of caramel and dried fruits. A malty sweetness paired with a right hook of hop power gives this Scotch-style ale all the attitude that its namesake implies. There you go.
Right on. All right, well, let's start things off joyously with a video game that I'm sure everybody and their mother is playing at this point. Oh, excuse me. Oh, God, that was really...
It's okay.
It's Black Ops 6.
Yeah.
And, okay, so we talked at length... Well, you talked at length about it last week.
Yep.
About your thoughts.
Gave my early review. Mm-hmm. I figure once everything is said and done, when we're maybe talking closer to the end of the year about our favorite games of the year, we can get into more in-depth about how we feel about it, if it does reach that end of the year top list.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay.
As far as like scoring, you know?
I don't think I've played enough new games this year to warrant... I'm not going to have anything on my
Sounds
list.
like a personal problem.
Skill issue.
I've let you borrow like a lot of games.
Yeah, but none of them were good. No, okay, listen, I can't get through all of them. Also,
I know there are a lot of RPGs, a lot of very long games.
Yeah, and Tyler just let me. Shout out to Tyler, coworker / homie. He let me borrow Yakuza 0 through 2, so I didn't have to pay for them.
Oh,
so
buddy.
I have those now too.
I am so happy for you.
I have a massive collection of games to get through.
I'm assuming it's Kiwami 1 and 2, right?
Kiwami,
yeah.
I don't even know what you mean by that.
Those Kiwami, I just met her. It's the remakes of 1 and 2. I assume. Because it has
they were on PS4. So.
Yeah. So it's Kiwami.
Yeah.
It's Kiwami.
All right. So I have to get through those. I have to... Sure, okay, maybe by... I guess it depends on when we do our lists.
Sure.
Because I've definitely seen more movies this year, and I've definitely listened to more music this year, so I'll have a pretty decent list on that front.
Okay.
And then I mean I have so many games to get through. And now Black Ops. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Not prestige? I must prestige.
You must prestige.
I must prestige.
Multiple times. Yeah. That's fair. I mean, let me just give my strategy for, how I get through my games is
how do you get through your games?
it's a tall task, my friends. But somehow I find a way.
Find a way.
So the way I tend to do it strategically is that I really try to focus in on 1, 2 tops for major single-player games. Then, because, if you're playing only 1 or 2 games and that's it, and not kind of like jumping around a little bit, it can get a little boring.
Yeah.
It can get a little arduous. It makes you not really want to play so much unless it really, sinks its teeth into you. I use Black Ops, specifically multiplayer, as the palate cleanser. Whenever I'm getting a little bit tired of, playing through the same style of game over and over again, or, getting through the RPG, doing all the side quests and stuff, I put on a podcast in one ear, voice chat in the other, and go off and play. And just turn off my mind from everything else. So I highly recommend that if you haven't tried.
Okay. That's crazy.
Sherry's told me the same. She's like, are you wait. She walked in on me one time. She goes, wait, are you listening to something on your phone and listening to the video game at the same time? And I was like, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, so I think we play games a little differently.
I know.
So there's,
I know.
there's we have different play styles.
Well, that's why we cover all bases. You know.
Yeah, that's right. There are people who play like me, and there's people who play like you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like you. Ooh, ooh. And I guess the only way to do it is to listen to a podcast and play. I can't do that. I was playing Black Ops with Brad the other night.
Yeah.
And he, for some reason, he has his voice.
Well, thanks for the invite.
Sorry. You know what, though? We are going to do it. We're all going to do it. Because I'm going to force everybody to play Warzone.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put a quad together.
Can we do zombies too?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll get in, and we'll knock out a couple of modes, and then we'll end it. Maybe we'll start with Warzone, because people, if you're not like super into Warzone, it gets a little exhausting. So maybe we'll play a couple rounds.
Yeah.
And then we'll move into different modes. But
Okay.
we're gonna play.
All right.
We're gonna play.
I'm down.
So, he's playing on Xbox, right? So he's got voice lobby. He's got his voice chat set up to just your party.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're in a party. I'm on PlayStation. He's on Xbox. We're in a party together. But he didn't know that he thought it muted him, but he could still hear the rest of the lobby.
Oh no!
And it was like, no, dude, you go into a different voice channel.
Yeah.
So you only hear me.
Yeah.
So
Everyone's really quiet. It's
exactly.
crazy.
So I'm playing, and I typically I'll wait to see how cool people are being before I jump into voice chat. Like, I mean, I've jumped into the game and people who are very clearly white people are dropping the N-bomb for no reason. Not even at anyone in particular. They're just saying it.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna, because it's just gonna ruin my experience. I'm not gonna jump in and
It's just annoying.
Yeah. And then sometimes there's guys like the other night I was playing and this guy was just like, just bitching and moaning. The game had just started and he already was like,
wow,
fucking teammates, man, fucking stupid teammates. It's like, dude,
it just started.
It just booted up. Relax.
Settle down.
So it's shit like that. But when somebody jumps in and they're calling spots and they're just being generally cool,
or they just play Kid Cudi in the background,
or then I'll jump in and I might I'll talk to people. Not that I'm afraid to like talk shit. If somebody if somebody insults my style of play or something, and they're like, Rod Ryder, you fucking idiot, then I'll jump in and be like, which actually happened the other day. Brad and I were playing, and then and this guy just out of nowhere. I mean, I know he was fucking with me because the game hadn't started yet. Yeah. And he just goes, "Fucking Rod Ryder, you suck." Game hadn't even started yet.
Yeah.
We never played with him. I just turned it on.
Nice.
So he was just fucking.
Apropos
with
of nothing.
But I thought it was hilarious. So it's just it's stuff like that. He doesn't know, so he's talking to me, but I'm in. Brad's talking to me. But I'm in game chat. So I'm hearing people. I'm talking to Brad, but then they're jumping into the conversation. But Brad can't hear.
Yeah.
So they're only hearing me respond to Brad, but they're jumping into the conversation.
Are they hearing Brad too or no?
No, they're just hearing me.
Okay. So you sound crazy.
I sound insane.
Yeah.
And then so I'm listening to him, and I also have other people responding to me. So it was like a cacophony of sounds.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine playing a podcast in one ear. I mean, unless you don't do that, unless you just completely turn them off as well.
Well, and that's my secret. Is I've specifically been focusing on just grinding. So, I've been doing Nuketown.
You're not even worried about winning.
I'm not. Well, no, I am. I'm trying to win, but. Nuketown is such a small map that you kind of get the gist whether or not you're, talking to anybody or not. You can just figure it out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's one of those. Warzone actually gets like that. You don't need to talk to people to win.
Yeah.
Because you get the flow of the game.
Yeah. You and that's exactly it. It's like you, especially on such a small map like Nuketown, it almost becomes like a Matrix scenario where you're just flowing. You're seeing the code. And you can just feel where people are going to pop up from. Yeah. Generally where people flow out of, where people are hiding. And of course, you don't know when somebody's going to be there or not, so that's the fun of it. But you can kind of strategize for that. And I mean, I think on a brief tangent about Black Ops 6 specifically, and I mean, they've been doing this for a while, but having those daily challenges is a really fun incentive to get you to use different guns that you normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
And different equipment and stuff like that. So I've really enjoyed playing around with those things because it's actually pushed me to like use the LMG more, try out pistols, and then I'm like, oh, this one's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me really grind on this, and that's when I go voice chat off, podcast in,
Yeah.
and I'm just zoned in, comatose to the world, to the point where Sherry is very angry with me because I will not move
Yeah.
for 2-3 hours at a time, just honed in, focusing. I need to get to this level at a certain point. Oh, I'm trying to unlock this specific scope and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's so satisfying. That rinse repeat nature of it is just so fun.
See, you're one of those guys. I can never understand when somebody would jump into when you turn on a game, and then you just hear it in the background. And I'm like, hey man, turn the music off.
Yeah,
What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Are you out of your? Who plays like that?
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I
can't, dude. I'm locked in, man. I'm. That's why I got the gaming monitor. I got the headphones on. They're noise canceling. You know, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm in it, and I can't. If somebody walks up and like starts saying something to me, I'm just what? What do you want?
I can't pause the game.
I can't get.
Mom,
you know this. You know this.
Yeah.
I'll kill you. So, I think that's insane. But
now I will say, conversely, I'm that way with campaign mode. I can't have anything.
See, that's so.
I need headphones on. I need to be fully immersed. I need to hear every line of dialogue.
That's
if
so
there's,
interesting.
If there's extra lines of dialogue, I'm reading them. I'm looking at the lore. I am, reading the little scrapbooks and stuff that are around, like trying to get the full story. And I'm fully immersed, like I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
Like it's annoying when somebody's on their phone while you're showing them a movie or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm that way when playing the campaign mode or a single player game like an RPG or something.
Yeah.
Don't bother me. Like I want to fully immerse myself. Again, unless I'm just grinding.
Yeah.
Like Persona's in that way where like you can just go into a dungeon and grind and grind and grind. In those cases, pop in a podcast, listen to an album or something. Well, not with Persona because the soundtrack's so good. But I'll listen to a podcast or put on a YouTube video in the background while I just kind of grind up my weapons, grind up my characters, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of how I do it.
That's crazy too.
Yeah.
Because even then, I like when story mode games. I'm locked in on that too, but not in the same level of like a competitive game. That's that's crazy. We play it exact opposite.
You say potato, I say potato.
So okay, let me get into my thoughts.
Yes, please.
Initially,
Your blop thoughts.
My blop thoughts. I've only played multiplayer right now. I haven't jumped into Warzone. I know you guys are. I know that's insane.
Yeah.
But I've not jumped into Warzone yet, and I haven't done the campaign yet. I've strictly been doing multiplayer just to level up all the guns and stuff.
Sure.
And so my thoughts are just going to be strictly multiplayer right now. No thoughts on the campaign.
Can you estimate how many hours you put in so far? Give or take
7, 8.
Okay.
Probably at this point. Yeah, I'd probably say a good 7 or 8 hours of just still think Call of Duty HQ is dumb. Now even having the latest game, I still think it's dumb because it's
an extra step.
It's an extra step, and it's for what? What is the point of this like mini menu to get to the menu to get to the game? So I mean, I already gave my thoughts on that, but suffice to say, getting the newest game doesn't alleviate any of my thoughts or concerns or anger towards the Call of Duty HQ. I think it's a dumb idea. I just don't think that it makes any sense. I do understand Again, I mean, we talked about it, but like if their idea is to make Call of Duty the window game, like the umbrella game rather, and then have everything else just be like basically DLC for like $75 DLC for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Then okay, sure. But as it stands, all it is just an extra step.
Yeah.
And again, no one's going back to fucking Vanguard. Sorry, it was a ghost of Vanguard trying to stop me from
Activision.
No one's going back to Vanguard. No one's playing like these older games. So anyway, negatives.
Yes.
I mean, I get there's still some like fluky stuff. The spawn points are a little weird, but the spawn points have always been a big issue in Call of Duty, so that's just kind of like that's just a thing.
It's a known quantity.
The maps are okay. I like some of them. Some of them I'm like, this isn't. Some of them, I mean, most of it just feels like classic rehashed Call of Duty maps that they just.
It's very grounded in a good way, and it does feel like they're harkening back to, I mean, even like the OG Modern Warfare stuff.
Yeah,
like, it just feels very.
Some of it
straightforward
is right. Some of it, I mean, Nuketown is obviously a classic, but there's a couple of different maps that I'm like, I've been here before.
This feels familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the game stands, because this was actually one of those situations where I was talking to Brad, but then a bunch of other people answered me. I asked what's going on with the Battle Pass, and apparently it's coming soon.
Yeah, there isn't one available right now.
I was really, because I was like, where? I was actually looking for it. I'm like, where's the Battle Pass? Like, how does this work now?
Yeah, they only have like the Vault Edition right now, which is an extra $30.
Which again,
it's like it's $100.
So the Battle Pass is coming soon, and I was so disappointed because like the way the game is set up right now, I'm like, let's just play it like this.
I know.
I'm unlocking guns.
And
I'm playing the game. I'm having fun.
Everyone's on the same playing field.
Yeah, what do we need the Battle Pass for?
I will tell you, if you haven't gotten the game yet, but you're curious, I'd say get it right now, because there is an absolute sweet spot we're living in right now.
Yeah, dude.
Of the game. It feels real good.
We're going to be talking about this like a year into the game's lifespan. Like, man, remember that first couple of months?
It all went to shit.
It was such a good game for a while.
It was a good 3 months we had there.
Because the way that you level up the guns, even leveling up the guns, is like it just feels so much more fun and more rewarding.
And it's so straightforward, and that's what I really like about it. I was telling you about this before we started recording, is that like the progression is it runs across every mode you can do in Blob 6, which is just so nice.
Yeah.
To have it all put together in an easy package. It's like it's the exact opposite of what like Battlefield is.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how do I get this attachment for the gun I want to use and unlock this thing?
Yeah.
And it's like convoluted.
Dude, I'll be honest, when I play Battlefield, I feel like a real moron with the
well, you have to do like algebra to figure out how to unlock stuff. I'm like, why does it have to be this hard?
I can't do this.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's all stripped back, and it's very easy to understand, very fun to grind.
Yeah, I love the simplified version that we have right now.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Well, and everything's spelled out for you, because even if you don't have it unlocked, you can still look at it, and you can see exactly what you have to do to get it.
It's the other thing, man. Like, no mystery.
No.
You know,
get to level 41 with this gun to unlock this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And that's it. Simple as that.
Dude, love it. Love it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months when they update it and they add a bunch of stuff. But right now, as it stands, I love the simplicity. I love the layout, the UI, everything about it when you get into the game itself works. And it just really feels like classic Call of Duty. And I'm like, I get why everybody was so enthusic about it now. Like, it just feels like an old school game.
It's a real surprise. It feels like a homecoming ceremony in a way, you know? That being said, is there any like favorite weapons you've gotten so far? Is there any favorite loadout, or are you just
I'm just
sampling?
No, what I'm doing is I'm gonna go down the line and I'm just gonna unlock them all
one by one.
I am. That's what I usually do.
Well, do you do it like by weapon type, or do you just
by
go
weapon
down?
type? Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm gonna knock out all the ARs.
Yeah.
So what I do is, I like the way that they switched it up in this game is now to use two like rifles in your loadout. You had to unlock the little wild card thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I did that. So now what I do when I'm grinding guns is I'll load them both. Not 1, 2, but like one gun and a different gun that I want.
Yeah,
So right now it's an AR and an SMG, and I'm flicking back and forth.
That's smart.
And trying to level them both up. So that's usually how I do it. And I don't really go through, honestly, with the more extraneous guns like shotguns, LMGs, launchers, melee weapons, things like that. I usually ignore them unless there's some kind of meta thing where people are like, no, dude, use this gun because it's really fun. You'll have a good time with it. Because most of the time, they just, and I think I talked about it last week, but Call of Duty has a real problem with nerfing. Their game balancing, I feel, has always left a lot to be desired. Their game balancing is not good. They nerf guns, they buff guns, and then they basically push everyone towards a gun that they want
a single
people
thing,
to use. And they don't make it to where using like 3 or 4 different guns makes sense in the game mode, like especially with Warzone. I think I talked at length about the meta, but the idea of like you get into the game and you want to use, say, your favorite AR from multiplayer, but you're gonna get wiped because everybody's using like this gun, which Call of Duty themselves has buffed to the point that it's basically a laser. So you have to use that gun, or you're just going to get wiped by everybody else.
Yeah,
so
it's a lack of balance. Like they overcorrect to the point where they end up with the same problem, just with a different gun, or a different loadout.
I think once you get to a point where like there are sweet spots that they hit. Like there were definitely moments in the previous life cycles of these games where you could use a sniper rifle, or you can use an LMG, or you can use an AR or an SMG, and there was enough variety there that people were kind of having fun with it, and they were like, "Nah, you're using the LMG too much. Let's nerf it." And it's like, no, dude, like this, you had it. It's like trying to keep water in the palm of your hands. It's so hard.
I think the key to it is to level the playing field in the way that it runs essentially like a rock paper scissors match. Like, sure, the SMG is super fast, but if you're going up against somebody, with a scout rifle from a certain distance, you're toast. And it's your job to figure out how to get close enough to the guy to wipe him out. Same thing with shotguns. Shotguns devastating close distance, obviously. Maybe I can trade my rate of fire for a longer distance slug shot. And it suddenly becomes almost a rifle.
And that is essentially what they try to do. It just doesn't really work as well. They just don't balance the guns well enough.
But they have every resource to make sure that works correctly. They are Call of Duty. There's no excuses. They should have it figured out. This should be a science to them at this
How do
point.
you feel about akimbo loadouts?
Well, I mean, I get annoyed by them, but I'm also working towards getting akimbo pistols at this exact moment. The automatic pistol I've been grinding.
The automatic pistol is
in order to get akimbo.
There's nothing more satisfying than
look.
Oh, you're dead. Sorry. Bye.
At the end of the day, I think it's a fun kind of Joker card you can pull out. Doesn't work great all the time. It's not like the akimbo lever action rifles from back in the day on Modern Warfare. But I think it's good to keep them in there just for a fun factor and to kind of show off.
Akimbo pistols, I'm fine with, even all the way up to automatic pistols. I'm fine with that. Anything past that, and it makes me want to like run through the wall. Like akimbo shotguns, and, that stuff just.
It should be limited to pistols, in my opinion.
Because
I
it
think
doesn't
that's
even make
fair.
any sense. Kind of goes back to the complaint of like, are we trying to be realistic, or
We're not.
or is this a video game?
We're not.
Like,
We're not. We're absolutely. Call of Duty has. I mean.
Oh yeah, that's a thing of the past.
So-
Nicki Minaj is in the game. You know,
Yes.
we're done with that.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, positives. I hate to say it because I've seen a lot of like streamers complaining about it and stuff, but I fucking love the Omni movement, man.
yeah.
I love.
Yeah. I told you. I tried to tell you.
I'm having so much fun with it, sliding around corners, diving, and then turning 180 like fucking
yeah.
Max Payne.
Oh,
Dude.
yeah.
I'm having, and not for nothing, I'm kind of nice with it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of nice with it because of all the fucking slide canceling I had to do in Warzone. I
Yeah.
got used to sliding all over the place. Dude, it's so much fun. I don't know what people I don't understand the complaints. I think this was such a, as it is right now,
Yeah.
as of this recording,
Sure.
okay, I think what they've done with it, the changes that they implemented to the movement are welcomed and great change. Like back in the day, slide canceling, bunny hopping, drop shooting, all that kind of stuff kind of felt a little cheeky. It felt a little like you're
hacking it.
Yeah, it just didn't feel right. But with this, it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. Like if you're nice with the Omni movement, you're just gonna win a fight because you're better than the other guy at the movement.
Yeah.
That I'm fine with. If a guy slides around the corner and I'm hard scoping and he just slides under me and kills me, that's my fault.
Yeah.
I fucked that up.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
But the other stuff felt just too glitchy. It just feels better, and it feels like it's native to the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taking advantage of, a frame rate or some kind of weird, which
is-
Cody system thing
To be fair, that's probably why a lot of the streamers don't like it.
Oh,
It's because
yeah.
it gave them such an advantage to be like, hey, I figured out the trick to this. But now, I feel like the playing field's been leveled.
Yeah, and they just don't like a person like diving towards them and spinning 360 and then stabbing them in the throat.
Yes.
I think it's hilarious.
It is-
Whenever
it
it happens
really
to
is.
me, I'm like, I can't believe he pulled that off.
Yeah. And also the satisfaction of somebody diving to your face and shotgunning them directly.
And just blasting
point
them out
blank.
of the air.
So
it's
much
great.
fun.
It's
So much
great.
fun.
No, I think that I'm genuinely surprised and happy about the fact that they implemented a change that is really drastic, really kind of controversial, really polarizing. But I'm on the side of like, I hate to praise them like this, but
Hey, if they
you got to give credit where it's due, man.
If they deserve it, then they deserve it,
I think
yeah.
it's a great change.
Yeah.
And I think that it makes sense because, the other iterations of the game, they were trying so hard to do this like yearly release, right?
Yeah.
But with Black Ops, Treyarch and the 100 other studios that were working on it, they had time to kind of sit around with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever genius was like, you know what? We're looking at how people play online, and they're slide canceling, and they're doing all this weird glitchy shit.
Yeah.
You got 12-year-olds holding the controller like gremlins. Why don't we just make that native to the game?
Yeah. Incorporate it. Makes sense.
And I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think that coupled with the classic feel of the game right now, I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. McDonald's. I'm loving it.
There you go. No higher praise than calling it McDonald's.
It's fucking McDonald's, baby. So there you go.
Well, good.
That's-
I'm glad you're enjoying it. We will play online very soon.
Yeah. Have you played Sparking Zero?
Not yet.
That's one that I've been like wanting to
Me too.
pick up.
Me too.
But I'm seeing more and more stuff about it, and I'm seeing like, so in the classic Dragon Ball Z fighting games like Budokai,
Yeah.
Tenkaichi, and all that
Tenkaichi.
stuff,
Yeah.
you picked your character, and that was the character that you ran with, and then if you wanted to evolve or change that character, level up and whatnot. Like that was what you had to do that in game. But from what I understand, and I hope that I'm wrong about this, but from what I understand, the game has like 200 playable characters.
Yeah, there's a big list of playable characters.
But a lot of it is just Kaioken Goku, regular Goku, Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And these are all playable characters that you have to pick.
Yeah.
And you can't just pick Goku
and level them up.
You have to pick if you want Super Saiyan 3, if you want to play with Super. So what I'm trying to understand, and maybe I need to get my hands on the game, is does his moveset change? Because if it's just the fact that he's stronger,
that wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't make sense because they have characters like Mr. Satan,
But the thing is, I'm seeing clips online, Mr. Satan as an example, fighting someone like, Majin Buu, and getting wiped. His moves are ineffective towards somebody who is. So there's an actual tier list of characters that you have to.
That sucks.
But
I don't like that.
Right, because it's a fighting game, and at the end of the day, I should be able to pick any character. And if I'm nice with this character, I should be able to fight any of your characters.
Yeah. Balance is very... I mean, we talked about shooters, but balance is very important for a fighting game, too.
I don't understand, like... what a weak way to beef up your game.
Yeah.
I just think it's such a...
I mean, I know it doesn't make narrative sense, but we're playing a game, like especially if it's versus, like an actual player versus player game. Then
if you're playing
should
online,
be leveled.
Then everybody should be leveled at the same way. Thank you.
Jesus Christ!
I mean,
is that how you feel every day at work?
No one's ever done this move to me. I have people do this move.
Oh,
one lady did what she pointed at me and she did this, and then I was not in a good mood that day.
Oh no!
And I came over to her
and
I said, don't do that.
Yeah.
And she was like, don't do what? And I was like, this right here, don't do that. And she was like, what? I don't understand. I was like, I'm not a dog.
Yeah.
There's other ways to get my attention. It was not good. And so I'm like pouring her beer, and I can hear her talking to somebody next to her, and she was like, she actually felt bad.
Yeah.
And her feeling bad made me feel bad.
Sure.
And she was like, she was talking to the person next to her, and she was like, was that rude? And the person next to her, she was like, I mean, it could be construed or misconstrued as rude. I mean, it's. I mean, I don't. You very clearly were not trying to be rude, but
it could come off rude. It could
come off as rude.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you
don't summon someone that way, though. The rule of thumb, at least for me, is the most you do, you make eye contact.
Yeah.
And you do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hand up. You put your hand up, and usually, this is a lesson I've learned over time in talking to bartenders. They definitely see you. They're not going to not see you. You are seen.
Yeah.
Whether you make eye contact or not, they know you're there.
Yeah.
They know you're waiting for something. They will get to you.
Thank you. Because
Yes.
I want people to understand that exact point. No, if you're not being served yet, it's because it's not your turn.
Mm-hmm.
You're not being seen.
Right.
There are very rare instances, and I know that like customers will probably be able to point this out. There are very rare instances where if I'm just standing behind the bar, like shooting the shit with the other bartender, and you haven't been served yet,
Yeah.
then you definitely have an opportunity to be like, hey man, can you
Sure.
still don't fucking summon me? There's still just
Right.
like, hey,
Excuse me.
there's just a tact, and I think that people, if they understood, just treat the bartenders how you would want to be treated. If I saw you out in the street and I was like, you come here, you would be like, what the fuck was that?
The finger curl is unless it's being done playfully.
I only want to see that when someone's laying in bed.
Right, exactly. Come hither.
And I'm coming. Yeah, that's the only time I want to see that. That's it.
Yeah, unless it's that, like it's very demeaning.
Yeah. If you're trying to get my attention the same way you would get a dog's attention, maybe you need to
A
take a step
cartoon
back
dog?
and kind of like you're the smoke from a pie.
Yes.
and you're
A pie on the
beckoning.
windowsill.
You're beckoning, and then
Yeah.
I float over to you, and I'm like, "Is there anything I can get for
Womp
you?"
womp 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 womp.
Yeah, so-
or did the Carmela Soprano,
Yeah.
the
Or
the Rock?
I was just about to say, that's also like, you want to go 1-on-1 with the great one. I've been watching the Mr. McMahon documentary.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
As a wrestling fan, and you're definitely like coming to your own as a newer. You know, you knew your stuff from back in the day, and then you kind of fell off, and then you kind of jumped back on.
I had a good 10, 15 years where I was out of touch.
Yeah.
And then I've come back more recently, yeah.
It is. I think that you would. I you know a lot of the stories too, but there's still a lot of stuff in there that's like, wow. Especially like the '80s stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Like even myself, I was like, oh yeah, I did read that, but the details that they go into. Yeah, Andy wanted to watch it, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm gung-ho about this. Let's watch this.
Yeah.
And
Are you sure? Okay, yeah.
yeah. So, it is so far a very illuminating look at how Vince McMahon views himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only criticism that I have so far, I'm like 3 episodes in. I think there's only like five episodes. The only criticism I have so far is I wish that they had spoken to a more diverse group of wrestlers to kind of paint a clearer picture, because there are, there's a handful of guys, but I can basically tell you who they've spoken to. They've talked to Tony Atlas, who was The Rock's dad. His name is Rocky Johnson. He was Rocky's tag team partner. So they talked to Tony Atlas. They've talked to The Rock, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, a couple of executives, Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H.
No Freddie Prinze Jr.?
No Freddie Prinze Jr.
Damn.
yet.
Damn.
Bret Hart. Did I say Bret Hart? I don't know if I said
don't
Bret
know if
Hart,
you
but
did.
Bret Hart.
Okay.
And I just think that there's more people, and then a couple of journalists. But, I don't know. There's some people that I think probably would
Pete
have.
Rosenberg in there?
No Pete Rosenberg yet.
Okay,
No.
okay.
Trish Stratus. They talked to Trish.
Okay.
There was definitely way more female wrestlers who definitely
yeah.
would have a say about how he treated the women back
Yikes.
then. No Sable. I think Sable would have a lot to say.
It's probably like too dark for them to even talk about,
Well, and Hulk Hogan. How could I forget fucking Hulk Hogan? Fuck Hulk Hogan. There's a lot of Hulk Hogan stuff in the first episode, and it's like,
Who would think?
yeah. I mean,
The man who can't shut up.
You know what sucks, man?
Hulk Hogan.
is- That's right. Cheers to that. Watching that stuff from the 80s and 90s, I really wish that I could look to Hulk Hogan and be like the all-American hero, man.
He's the Mel Gibson of wrestling.
Yeah.
Such potential, such a legend.
Yeah.
And for it to all be tarnished is just, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
As a fan.
Yeah, because you just wanna be able to love these guys.
Yes.
And let them just be legends in their own right.
The
But-
legacy to be untarnished with this horrible horrible news that
Yeah.
came out, but you can't.
You can't.
You can. People have, but I can't.
No.
I can't do
No,
that.
I can't. I'll never let it go.
No.
I'll go to my grave with it.
I'll go to Hulk Hogan's grave.
I'll go to Hulk Hogan's
And Mel Gibson's
Clearwater,
grave.
Florida bar and grill. What is it called? Shit. Fuck. I gotta look it up.
He has a bar and grill in Clearwater?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he does. Hold on.
I mean, I'm not really surprised. That checks out, actually. What could it be? Real American Bar and Grill.
Okay. No. You wanna take another guess?
Yeah.
So he has his own wrestling shop, and where is it? It's also in Clearwater. So he has like a bunch of merch and stuff, and he's always hanging out there taking pictures with little kids, probably charging them $500. Then he has like a bar and grill.
Okay.
Okay. So
like a Jimmy Buffett type thing.
Yes.
Like a Margaritaville.
So I'll tell you the memorabilia shop is very boring. It's just called Hulk Hogan's Wrestling Shop.
Yes.
But
You can do better than that.
his bar and grill is also named after him. Okay.
Okay.
So just use one of his names. I'm not going to give you which one he uses.
Hulkmania.
No.
Terry's.
No. You're in the right direction.
Oh.
Not his real name though. I'll give you another hint. Just use his wrestling name.
Hogan's.
Okay.
Hogan's Bar and Grill.
No, you're close. It is
Hogan's.
Think about the alliteration there.
Hoagies.
Hogan-
Hot dogs. Hamburgers.
Not a food.
Hogan's.
Thing you do there.
Ooh, Hogan's.
Again, the
Heatery.
alliteration.
Heatery.
Heatery. Hogan's Heatery.
What do you do at a bar and grill? You eat, you drink.
You eat, you drink. But what else would you like? What would you call that activity? Eating, drinking, chilling with your friends.
Hogan's Hang.
Hogan's Hangout. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fuck you, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that sucks.
In the documentary, he's wearing a T-shirt. Hogan's Hangout.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee.
Always advertising,
I
brother.
guarantee that's probably the only reason why he was part of it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yeah, you can wear the shirt. It's fine.
Yeah. Because the thing is, they're still super protective of him, and that's the like real sickening part about the documentary so far.
Yeah.
Is how protective a lot of them still are of him. A lot of them view him as this father figure, and I realize now. Some people will ask me jokingly, like, "You've been a wrestling fan the majority of your life.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you've wanted to wrestle. Do you must have come up with a character. You must have come up with like, and I'm like, you know what? I honestly never really seriously thought about it because I think that, and this is my own, this is Marco's own hubris.
Okay.
I really believe that I could do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and wrestling is in there. I really believe that like if I had just started early enough, I would have been like. Yeah. I would have been like a decent mid-carder to like maybe heavyweight champion. I really, really believe.
Listen, you're in the right town for it.
That's true.
So
yeah, it would have been easy to just go
up in
and
NXT and
there you go.
Say la vie.
But I never thought about it. And the more like, especially as an adult, I'm in my 30s now, and I look back on it, and it's like I'm not built like those dudes, and I don't mean physically, because that's true too. But what I mean is, I could have been.
Yeah.
Thank you. What I mean is, nice catch. I'm really not trying to like grandstand or get on some soapbox or anything, but I like morally. There's no way I could have looked the other way while like women were being abused, young boys were being abused. This is a thing. My coworkers were being abused. Yeah. I probably would have been abused.
Just in an overtly abusive environment.
Yeah, just a terrible,
exploitive.
You have to be a different kind of person to say, I am going to fight through this because I want to be the world heavyweight champion.
I want this more than I want to quit because of these extenuating circumstances.
Dude, I've quit fucking pizza jobs for less than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there is no way. I just did. That's the one thing that I know I don't have in me is to be able to look the other way while that kind of shit is going on. I would have definitely split, and I would have definitely been a whistleblower.
Some would say that's a good thing.
I definitely would have been on Jesse Ventura's side. I mean, like, yeah, dude, let's start that fucking union, man.
Yeah.
Let's get this going. But it's a
Marco, I'm glad you asked about the union.
I so far so good. I think it's a really good documentary for people who aren't like big wrestling fans. I think it does a really good job of if you're interested in what makes him tick. So far, it's been like, you're starting to kind of get into the psyche of this guy, and Andy's watching it, and they're like, I had no idea that happened. I can't believe that they let this happen, and I'm sitting there, and I'm going like, Yeah, you're you're right.
That is crazy.
It is crazy that this kind of shit happened, and we all just kind of were
We
like,
just grew
"That's
up
just
knowing
wrestling."
about this. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I'm watching like they're showing. I'm on the episode now where they're kind of explaining the Mr. McMahon character in the Attitude Era.
Sure.
And they're showing clips of stuff from the Attitude Era, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of making me uncomfortable. And I watched this shit when I was a kid, and I told Andy, I was like, this is from like 96 to like 2003.
Yeah.
Because then like 13, 14, I got into high school, and I was trying to fuck girls. So like I stopped watching wrestling.
Sure.
Then. But from that point to that point, I was... I mean, it was like my entire life was dedicated to just professional wrestling.
My friend
I
Ryan
loved it.
Bridges had a trampoline outside, and we would do so many moves on it.
That's it. Just need that trampoline and boom.
A trampoline or a pool.
That's it.
You see what you kids missed?
You missed it.
You missed it.
And you're never going to get it.
You won't know the joy of going, suck it, and then power bombing your friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm watching these clips and I'm going like, this is some heinous shit, man.
Oh yeah.
We grew up watching bra and panty matches and thinking like, hell yeah. And I'm watching it as an adult and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They ripped that woman's clothes off.
Yeah.
And it just
Like
threw her in
animals.
oh God.
That was the point.
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
There's a moment
They
where,
added those into the games too, didn't they?
Yeah, there was bra and panty matches in
Yeah.
the game. You could click that mode, and
Yeah.
and the way to win was you had to rip your opponent's clothes off. That was how you won the match. There was one bit where Val Venus gets his dick cut off, but they cut. He's backstage and he's chained up.
Yeah,
and they're about to cut his dick off with a samurai sword, and then they cut to a guy cutting like a big log of what appears to be like bologna or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then it cuts to him,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like, cool, and it's I'm like, this is the shit that we watched, man. The suck it, and I mean, it was, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So it's a very entertaining watch. It's a pretty hard watch.
I'm sure it is.
There are
yeah.
moments. I mean, they talk about the Owen Hart stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
I saw clips. We haven't got there yet, but I know they're going to talk about the Chris Benoit stuff.
Yeah.
And the Owen Hart stuff really got me emotional, man. I was watching.
It's sad. It's really sad.
You know, Bret Hart talking about it, and the other wrestlers talking about it, and just seeing Owen Hart. I mean, he had so much potential, and I think it's
And just beloved by everyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just really
Terrible.
really sad what happened, and I was sitting there just like, Bret Hart's getting choked up, and I'm getting a little choked up, and I'm like, okay, let's watch this. Let's continue watching this documentary. So yeah, I would. I definitely check it out. I think Sherry
episodes-
would.
I'm definitely gonna show it to her.
Netflix, yeah, all
All episodes are out now.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's on Netflix, and
Cool.
I think she'll dig it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have that video of her watching the Hell in the Cell match
Yes.
for the first time.
Yes.
I might overlay that. I need to.
You
I'm
should.
gonna overlay
You should.
that
You should put it here.
right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Is there anything else we're gonna talk about? I forget what we introed.
I think it was just Blops and getting us to
Blops and chat, right?
Blops and chat, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like, excuse me, not to acknowledge the real world too much, because this is a safe space for everyone.
Far, far away.
But I do feel like this felt good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice just to talk. Just to talk about stuff,
and not acknowledge some of that stuff that's going on.
Yes.
We're just shooting the shit. And
Everyone needs a break sometimes, and that's what we're here for.
yeah.
So we try to avoid politics as much as possible for that reason.
And I mean, there's for us there is a clear agenda of like avoiding politics, because avoiding a lot of like not just politics but like real world instances and things like that, because we want you guys to come here and be entertained and have a good time, and kind of like just take an hour out of your day and have a good time. It's One Beer and Podcast.
Even
Like,
if you're
that's-
not having a beer with us, feel like you are.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope that we do that for you guys. And, you know, as things move on these next however long, we're going to continue to do that. I mean, that's really that is our focus of this show is to entertain you guys, to have a good time, and to bring you into just a couple of guys shooting the shit and hanging out and talking about stuff. And so no matter what happens, we want that to be the goal of the show.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we continue to do that for you guys.
Yes. We want to be a safe place for you guys to come and listen and tune out from the static out there.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
And so in that regard, let's bring that back in. Let's get another one of those. Let's get another one.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you.
And
getting thirsty over here.
while Obi does that, you want to talk about our cheers of the week?
Sure.
I kind of feel like it's the same. Actually, you know what? Never mind. What is yours going to be?
Well, now I'm curious about what yours is.
I
that you were so bold to assume I had the same one.
I was bold. I was bold.
Well, mine. You know, fuck it. I'll say it. Not to put our the news into focus too much, but I just want to say I'm very thankful for the poll workers out there. Because there were many bomb threats, many threats of violence and such, but fortunately none of that came to pass. But still, it's a scary, extremely inglorious job to have in 2024. So I appreciate all the people out there, especially because a lot of them are like elderly folks who are retired and just out of the kindness of their hearts want to be out there and help with the electoral process.
Yeah.
Everyone who I've ever met at a polling station has been the sweetest people I've ever known or met. So I just want to give a little, cheers to them. Just do a partial sip.
Partial sip.
What about yours? What did you think mine was going to be?
I thought we both were going to give a rest in peace to Quincy Jones.
Well, now I feel dumb.
No, yours was great. Yours was great. That I felt bad when you said yours because I was like, "That's right. Those people deserve to be thanked." You're right.
Let me be clear.
Let me be clear.
When he did pass, I did immediately think, "Cheers to the week." So you're right. You're right. But too much has happened recently after his passing, unfortunately. But yes.
Yeah.
To Q.
To Q. So,
DuckTales.
Woo. Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Passed away this week. From a personal standpoint, I feel like I'm going to start losing the people that mean the most to me from a musical standpoint.
Oh yeah. I mean, who looms larger than Quincy Jones?
No one.
It's incredible how much he has done in his lifetime for our generation and beyond.
Yeah.
For the modern sound of pop music.
Yeah. He is
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. And so just what he's given to the world and what and it is you guys really don't understand like what if you don't know who Quincy Jones is, if you're not that familiar, you really don't understand the genius of Quincy and what he's given to popular music, what he's given to the culture at large, is just, it's hard to quantify.
Yeah, it's a giant. He's a giant, a titan of music.
Yeah, 80 Grammy nominations, 28 wins. He's he's tied actually with Beyonce for the most wins ever. Actually, was surprised that Beyonce had won that many.
Now that you say it, me too. I was about to ask the question: is anyone close to Quincy? But yeah, Beyonce. I
Beyonce's
guess.
right there.
Yeah.
I mean, Beyonce wins a lot of singles, a lot of Destiny Child stuff, but a lot of Destiny's Child stuff, a lot
Yeah.
of solo stuff,
Sure.
a lot of collaborations.
Yeah.
So she's yeah. Every genre of black music, i.e. music, that you can think of, Quincy Jones had a hand in.
Yeah.
Big and small.
An entire sound of like the 80s really
Yeah.
is highly inspired by Quincy Jones and his production and
Quincy, Rod Temperton, and Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Just basically there was Prince, there was Quincy, and then there was white people in the 80s who was doing like new wave, which
new wave. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not. I love new wave.
Everyone
I love,
found the synthesizer around the same time and figured out how to use it in different ways,
Right.
which is really nice.
Right.
that we all came around this technology at one time to be like, this is how we're gonna make music now.
I mean, he's won album of the year. I didn't double check how many times he's won it, but multiple times he's won the Grammy Award for album of the year. I can tell you, Thriller.
Yeah.
And
They do Off the Wall too.
I don't think Mike won for Off the Wall, but he did produce.
He did produce Off the Wall. Yeah.
I don't think he won album of the year for Off the Wall. I think he only won for Thriller.
I'd like to see who won over Off the Wall.
Quincy helped produce Off the Wall, Thriller, and
Bad.
Bad,
Yeah.
and then he left during Dangerous, and that's when Teddy Riley stepped in.
Yeah.
Because Mike wanted to do like a New Jack Swing.
And
kinda
you can
thing.
hear the change.
Oh, you can. Yeah, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
I like Dangerous. There's some bangers on there. I think Remember the Time is probably the best Michael Jackson song.
Oh my God.
If not beat it. This could
get-
turn into a Michael Jackson podcast.
A jack off.
A jack off, if you will. But
And it all comes back to jizz. It all comes back to
it
jizz
all
music.
comes back to jizz music. But yeah, I mean, we could spend an entire episode of this podcast talking about the genius of Quincy Jones and what he brought to popular music. But just suffice to say, everybody owes something to Quincy.
Absolutely.
So.
Do yourself a favor, like I did, which is go on your favorite music streaming service and look up a playlist of Quincy Jones produced songs.
Oh yeah, it's a great idea.
And you'll just be like, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that.
If you know nothing, just know that the opening to Austin Powers is a Quincy Jones song.
That's right.
Like, if you know nothing else, just think about the idea that he wrote and produced. I think it's called Soul Bossa Nova.
Yeah.
He wrote that song.
Oh, and the famous Kill Bill.
Oh, yeah. That's Quincy Jones. So that's Quincy. Think about that, dude. Bad, Thriller, Off the Wall. That's Quincy.
Yeah.
Austin Powers. That's Quincy. Kill Bill. That's Quincy.
Yeah.
Wrap your head around that shit, man.
Just a genius. An absolute genius.
Yeah, and so
And really outspoken and really funny in interviews.
we haven't even scratched the surface of like what he has seen, what he has been through,
Yeah.
and the stuff that he's talked about and won't talk about.
huge inspiration for The Weeknd.
Yeah,
That is why he was featured in an interview in The Weeknd's latest
yeah, he's on Dawn
album,
FM.
Dawn FM, yeah.
Yeah. So, like Adam said, do yourself a favor, look him up,
Look him up.
and really understand what music and pop culture and the world has lost
Yeah.
with his passing.
And what it's gained by him being around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Tonight's brew was from the Founders Brewing Co. It's the Dirty Bastard, a Scotch-Style ale. Weighing in at an 8.5 ABV. Adam Obesius,
Let's get it on.
what did you think of said brew?
It is good. It is a little too malty for me.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that.
I do enjoy the as they say the little punch there of the hops. I think that does balance it out pretty well. But me being an IPA man, would have preferred even more and a little less of that sweetness. Dial it down a little bit. But I know Scotch-Style, that's what you're going for, is a bit more malty.
Yeah.
Heavier. Eventually you get into the wee heavy scenario.
Wee heavy.
But we're not quite there. I really enjoyed it, though. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I would definitely come back to this one. I think it's a classic for a reason. And I think Founders does themselves many favors by continuing to make this their flagship. 4.5. A little too malty for me. That's all I have to say.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 5. This is definitely more in my arena. I do like the maltiness of it. I do like that slight sweetness of it. The biscuity kind of toasty. Yeah. I fucks with this heavy.
Yeah. Not wee heavy.
Not wee heavy. If if you see somebody with this, crack this open because this is good. Founders, people like the Founders IPA. I don't remember what it's called, but people really like. I have people come into the bar and ask about Founders IPA.
Yeah,
they have some flagship stuff.
Easy to find too. This is that's in Publix and other places.
Yeah, Founder stuff is everywhere. So, I like this a lot. So I'm gonna give it a 5.
Fair enough.
All right, you think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, if Obi says we got it, then this episode is over. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Duper, for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Trans rights or human rights?
Absolutely. Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer. Don't give up. And have yourself a beautiful evening.
We love you.
Lost to be found by someone to save
Felt
you
good.
when you're down.
Felt good.
Yes, I